ladies and gentlemen, you know what time it is. We're back for another one. Friday, June the 26th, coming to you guys live from the DCF studio here on the south side of Chicago. Ladies and gentlemen, we are live! Ooh, there, it feels so good every time. So good to see all of your smiling faces today. Hopefully everybody's doing good. Let's go ahead and pull up the chat here. Hopefully we are looking good and sounding good. Alrighty, let's see here. Let's get this pulled up. And looking good, sounding good, everybody. Cool, good stuff. 75 plus people. So good to see all of you. Thank you guys for joining us. Hopefully everybody's doing good. Can you believe it's already the end of June? We are halfway through the year, just about. What a year it has been. This is one for the school books in the future, for Dexter to read about, the year 2020. What a year it has been. So, where to even begin? Where to even begin with today's episode? How could we not at least start to talk about the long-awaited portrait experiment, the 30-day challenge, something that I have hinted multiple times over these live streams over the past few months. I didn't want to give too much away because I really wanted the video to be just this epic culmination of everything, and I'm so pleased with how that video came out. That's one where we really poured our heart and soul into, of course, the challenge of trying to learn portraits, and then in the style of the video. And based off the feedback, I really think that came across to you guys, because the feedback on that video was phenomenal. For all of you guys who reached out and said anything, thank you so much. And just opening up, being authentic, being raw, I think will always win out. It's always a good idea. And I think that, like I said, it came across to you guys. When you take on a challenge like that, you might expect that it's going to be completely linear and you're just going to get, here's going to be you on day 1 and then here's going to be you on day 30 and it's going to be a straight path. But it is a whole lot more like a roller coaster, ups and downs, and plenty of times you want to just throw the brushes and throw the paint and throw the shoes and throw the canvas at the wall and give up and start something else. And believe me, it was not a straight linear path practicing that. But the end results, I'm so pleased with everything, how everything turned out. And it's what's most exciting is not just this being done today, but knowing sort of where this could go, what this means for the future. That's exciting. And I'm really excited about that. Doing more portraits. I didn't really want the video to come across as a tutorial or anything like that. You know what I mean? I wasn't ready to speak on everything there is to know about portraits, because there is so much. So I really wanted it to just be about the experience. I want to have way more under the belt before I'm really putting out tutorials and techniques and tips and tricks and things like that when doing portraits, because just doing the few that I did isn't enough. You know what I mean? I need to do a whole lot more before it's something that I'm ready to teach on. But it's awesome because just all of you guys and your support is really one of the reasons why I wanted to do that. How can I not want to not only be a better teacher to you guys, but want to put myself in your shoes on what it's like to learn a new craft? Because it's just so easy for someone like me who's been doing something like customizing shoes for so long. It's been something I've done every single day for 8+ years. What's it like for somebody who's never done anything, never seen a video, never done anything, never picked up a paintbrush and put it to a pair of shoes? What's that like? And how do I try to communicate that and teach that through you know, our teachings here on YouTube? So I think that's something that it pushed me to want to become a better teacher. So yeah, it was awesome. I do want to touch a little bit more on it. It's funny, when I started, I was like, you know what? I got to get some new brushes. You know, it's kind of like that. You'll hear of people say, I got to get some new gym clothes before I start hitting the gym, and then I'll be able to hit the gym harder and things like that. I gotta pick up some new basketball shoes before I join this rec league, because it's gonna make me a better player and those types of things. So I said, let me invest in some high quality brushes and whatnot, and maybe right away I'll be a better portrait artist. And you know, that's not the case. Of course, it's nice, it helps, and It is, but it's funny. It doesn't happen. Just because you get better brushes doesn't all of a sudden make you a better artist. So that's funny. Right away, I just wanted to do a portrait of MJ in that video, just raw, kind of how I know how to do portraits. I've had to do some in the past. It's just something that's never excited me. As a customizer, when you have a long list of orders to do, you know, anytime a new order comes in, that portrait order kind of gets pushed down a little further. Like, I'll get to that one maybe next week. All of a sudden, you get a couple more orders that week. I'll get to that one maybe 2 weeks from now. You know what I mean? That's how it kind of goes. So I would always push them down, not be excited about them. And now, hopefully, I will be able to be a lot more excited about taking those on. And I already have a few lined up after people saw these and reached out. And in portraits, realism to me is one of the most difficult forms of art as a whole. And people just in this business, since I think a lot of people watching this are curious about the business side, people are willing to pay a lot of good money for portraits. So that's it's exciting to you know, I still want to expand the business even more. You know what I mean? So if you guys have any questions about that, I will try to, of course, answer anything about you know, that experiment, what I took away from it and whatnot. And it was a fun one. Great challenge. I definitely plan on doing more of these. I don't know what we're going to do next. I'm going to need, one day I'm going to have to learn how to sew and how to deconstruct and reconstruct shoes. So we'll see, but that could be somewhere down the line. So yeah, it was a fun time, and the feedback from you guys was absolutely incredible. But we did get one super chat already from Pitbull Custom Shoes. Says, thanks for all your videos, my brother. Thank you, Pitbull. Greatly appreciate your support. Thank you for sending in a super chat. Really means a lot. Thank you so much, and glad that you enjoyed the videos. We really try to put a lot into them. We really do. There's a lot of blood, sweat, and tears goes into trying to make, just put out the highest quality product for you guys. So I'm glad that it comes through. So thank you for that. We have another one from Walking Creations with a yo. Thank you for joining us, Walking Creations. Glad to see you here, buddy. So let's see here. Claudia Bowles says, for the floral contest, does it need to be on sneakers? I paint other leather shoes. No, it could be on any piece of footwear. The only things that we wouldn't be including in the floral contest is we're not going to do purses, hats, backpacks, anything like that. Who knows? Maybe somewhere down the line we'll do, you know, an accessory challenge or something like that. But as long as it's footwear, it could be slides, it could be heels. You say you do other leather sneakers, awesome. It can absolutely be that. Let's see here. One thing that I did want to open up to you guys. We have some cool stuff coming up, some cool videos, but I am curious. I want to open it up to the chat. Throw them our way. Send us suggestions right now in the chat of video ideas. Now, of course, I expect plenty of people to say, you know, beginner videos, things like that, but we got 150 plus videos here on YouTube for you guys to check out. We've done a lot, and it's not like we're anywhere near out of ideas, because we can always even refreshen up old concepts. But I would love to hear some some of your concepts or ideas or video ideas that you guys would like to see us bring to life, because it's funny, that's something that we said almost at the end of the video when we were first starting out. We would always say, send us your suggestions. We want to make, you know, kind of the content that you guys want to see. And that's something that we really tried to do. Tailor the content towards what you guys, what you guys think will be really helpful. What aspects of sneaker customizing do you need to learn more about? So yeah, let us know about that. Let us know about that. Quentin Hitchcock says, I need a tutorial on how to do the vinyl stencil from the portrait video. See, that's part of that 150 plus video catalog that we have. That video, I believe, it's probably almost about 2 years old. If I had to guess right now, I would say it came out in August of 18. It has a Dennis Rodman portrait on the thumbnail. And I think the title of the video is like Quick Portrait Stencil Guide or something like that. And we walk through how to do it in Photoshop, how to do, how to make it in your stencil cutting program and things like that. So, yep. Let's see. You guys are sending in some cool ideas. You guys, yeah, some good ones. A lot of stuff for custom Jordan 11s, some foam posits. It's funny. There's there's a reason that we don't really have videos on either of those, really, because foam posits, that material is so tough to make durable long term. Foam posits and Jordan 11s, they're not the same. Obviously, Jordan 11s are a patent leather, but I don't think anything could be done really to make patent leather that durable long term. Interestingly enough, I did just get a DM today from somebody who is, interestingly enough, they said they are the agent of a pretty big sneaker customizer that a lot of you guys would know. I don't really want to say their name until I know that this project would go through, but they sent me a video of something. Actually, I could say what it is. They sent me a video of a Jordan 11 that had the patent leather painted and it had the outsoles painted. And they said, hey, check this out. They're doing the little scratch test on it, with the little X-Acto knife. And I said, well, yeah, hey, that's nice. But, scratch resistant doesn't mean wearable. You know what I mean? That doesn't mean that it won't crack or wear off pretty quickly. And I said, okay, cool. Hey, what do you think about reviewing these? You know what I mean? And the way they worded it, they actually want me to wear them. And they asked, what's your size? And I said, okay, well, cool. Hey, I'm an 8.5. So we'll see. They are talking about sending in a pair to me to actually wear, and I would love to do it because I'm somewhere down the road. I'm not saying it's impossible. I would love people to find a way to paint outsoles and paint things like patent leather. That would be absolutely phenomenal. So yeah, who knows where that video could go. That could be really cool if that does go through, of them sending in a pair to me for a are these wearable. You know what I mean? And speaking of just like, are these wearable, we want to do a are these wearable type video with the Chunky Dunky Jordan 1s that I have been wearing the heck out of. I've put some miles on those. Still holding up great. So that video maybe a month or so away. I definitely want to have a month or two, 6 to 8 weeks or so worth of wear on those before we do that. We got another super chat coming in from Lisa Tight. Thank you so much, Lisa. It says feed in the goat. That is too kind of you. Lisa Tight, for those of you that may not know, is awesome story, but it's a mother-son team, Tight Customs, and they were the ones who did those horror-themed Jordan 1s that actually won our horror contest last year. So super talented mom and son team, and it's very cool for me to see, because I think that I certainly got a lot of my willingness to even test art, and it was just kind of in my blood per se from my mom also, because my mom is a huge DIY person. My mom will paint anything and everything. She just Dexter has a swing over at his grandparents' house, and it's a rocket ship, and my mom's a garage sale hunter, a thrifter, you could call her. Anything like that, and she repainted this rocket for Dexter. It looks awesome. I grew up having a large pool in the backyard, and one year we were going to replace the pool the next summer, so she painted the entire outside of the pool. The final summer we had it with fish all the way around it and stuff, and yeah, my mom she has that flowing through her veins also, so super cool to see. So thank you so much for that, Lisa. CW Custom says, I just bought 800 toothpicks. Hashtag toothpick gang. Good to see, man. Good to see. One day we're going to have to come out with, I'm not saying we're going to create toothpicks, but at least our own packaging for some toothpicks with, the DCF logo on there, something like that. Something just funny, nothing too serious, but we would love to do that. So, The Right Magic, how you doing, Mel? Says, Dylan, would you do a video of you and your mom doing a collab on a pair of shoes? That would be awesome. That would be really cool. I haven't shown, neither of my parents have made an appearance on the channel yet. Actually, my dad, he did stop in during the 10-hour live stream. They were picking up Dexter for us that day, and Papa de Jesus made an appearance. But yeah, that would be awesome, because my mom, when I was starting out, helped me a lot with shoes and orders when I was starting out in early years of business. It was a lot more about quantity, whereas now it's of course more about quality, but the quantity has scaled down, of course, as price has gone up also. You know what I mean? So that would be a great idea. Mel would absolutely love to do that. So let's see here. James Y says, how did you get requests for customs when you started out? So when I started out, times were different as far as social media. I posted a pair of shoes just that I painted for myself, and right away I was able to get requests, thankfully. That's not the case for everybody anymore because it's such a much more of a competitive space. So we actually do have a video coming out within the next, I think that video is about 2 weeks away, and that one is going to be on tips, just starting out, gaining business, and all that type of stuff. So yes, let's see here. Lizban with the super chat. I work on a pair of Gant brand sneakers. When prepping with acetone and deglazer, all the fabric white color got off and the shoe is totally gray now. Is that okay? So, that absolutely can happen if you are talking about white leather. You said fabric, so it might be a little different. But if you are talking about leather, there is absolutely a chance that the leather will start to have gray peek through underneath. I'm trying to see. I don't have a pair of Air Forces right in front of me that have the gray leather peeking through. Let me check if these do. Nope, that pair didn't. I do have a pair of all-white Air Forces over there that are prepped, but not every single pair of Air Forces, even sometimes the left shoe to the right shoe, will have that gray leather peeking through. It really does vary from pair to pair. So you're asking if that's okay. If we're talking about leather, yes. If we're talking about fabric, it could be a little different. If you want to send me a DM with a picture of them, I'll gladly take a look at those after the live and let you know what I think about them. But thank you so much for sending in that super chat. The beard game is insane, guys. I haven't been to a barber since before quarantine and all that. About a month in, I decided to shave my head, shave my beard. It was too out of control. It was basically at this point, and I need to get to a barber in this upcoming week. That is for sure. So let's see here. Okay, so Rel with the sauce says, out of the 8+ years you've been doing customs, at what point did you realize it's time to leave your 9-to-5 and become a full-time customizer? So I started out during my second year of college. That was when I painted my first pair of shoes. During my second year of college, I went to architecture school. I got an internship during that year. So I started painting the shoes during that first semester. They took me about 2 months to do. I posted them. People asked if I could do something for them. I said, sure, but hey, I'm in college, so I'm going to have this, long wait time and things like that. So anyways, as we inch towards the summer, the internship that I had in an architecture firm had lost one of their bigger projects. So they said, hey, we kind of no longer need you for the summer if we don't have this project. Okay, cool. So I'm about 19 at the time, so I'm thinking, all right, well, do I want to go and, just go get some summer job or whatever the case may be? And I said, you know what? What if I go ahead and try to build out this business and paint shoes all summer? I wonder if that could be enough income for me, because I already have people who want me to do it. I have customers that are that I've had 2 or 3 month waits for. So now all of a sudden I'll have more time and be able to do it all summer. So I did that over the summer. I go back for my third year of college, and I quickly realize there's no way for me to balance these both. So during my third year of college, the architecture school that I went to, IIT in downtown Chicago, was a 5-year program. During my third year, I'm trying to balance both. Anytime I'm doing architecture homework, I'm at school, all I'm doing is thinking about shoes. I'm in the classroom, on the computers, supposed to be doing renderings and graphic design, all this stuff. I'm on sneakernews.com. I'm on Nice Kicks. I'm on all the sneaker blogs. I'm on Nike Talk. I'm doing Photoshop of shoes for clients, for mock-ups, all this stuff. All I'm thinking about is shoes. And then when I'm actually working on shoes for clients or whatnot, architecture is the furthest thing from my mind. So I just quickly realized during that year where my passion, where my love was. And so after that third year is when I decided a business grew over that year. And of course, after that summer, after my third year of college, business really picked up. And I said, okay, I don't want to go back for the fourth year of college. I need to pick one. I can't do both. It's too hard to do both. And I know where my heart is. So I didn't already have a 9-to-5 career. So I will without a doubt say that it was easier for me, being probably 20 years old at the time, to make that decision to leave college than it would be for somebody who has a 9 to 5, has a family, has bills to pay, has a house. I have all that stuff now, but it's not the same as being a 20-year college student. You know what I mean? So I didn't already have a 9 to 5 career. Let's see here. So thank you for that question, Rel. Let me see here. I saw a good one about a lot of people saying they want to see moms on the channel. Mom and Jesus is going to have to make an appearance. Let me see. I saw one. It was something about airbrushing or hand painting. Picking one. Let me see. Pipple says, what do you think about walk on red and walk on black? Neither of those will hold up long term. They're not permanent. I think they may say that they are pretty permanent, but they are not. Let me see. I don't see that question, but it was a good one. It was a good one. Okay, yeah, here it is. It's from JustF07. Hey, Seuss. It's funny. He's the only person to ever call me Seuss, so it's funny when you get handed a new nickname. So I dig that one. You hand-painted your Chunky Dunky customs. How do you decide when to hand-paint versus airbrush your customs? Great question. It is not the easiest decision sometimes. For sure, one of the factors for why those were hand-painted is because I was doing a live stream and I didn't want to, it would have been harder to film airbrushing for noise purposes, for camera purposes, for things like that. It's just easier for me to film hand painting. So that's one of the factors. When I'm working on something like a Jordan 1 where we have a lot of panels, that's where sometimes it's, so for example, with the Kobe's, the yellow was airbrushed. Okay, so what I did was tape off the midsole, airbrush the yellow, and then I went back and hand painted the purple panels. I have a Barcelona pair of Jordan 1s that I'm working on right now. These are, the blue is airbrushed, okay, and then the red and yellow is hand painted. So airbrushing, I actually prefer airbrushing. It's faster. I think the paint actually lays better with an airbrush. And so I typically always want to airbrush first. Sometimes you can't. And when you're working with shoes that have a lot of panels, that's when it's also harder to airbrush as much of it. So yeah, that's a great question. Also, sometimes certain colors are just like nearly impossible to paint well by hand, like yellows, purples, reds for some reason. They're just not fun to hand paint. So whenever possible, I do like to start with airbrushing. So 131 people in the chat. Oh man, the chat is flying. So many great questions. Thank you guys so much for joining us. Truly appreciate that. Let me see here. Javi says, how do you handle how people pay? Like half before, half after, or full before or after? Because what if you make a pair and they can't afford anymore or want to pay? So that is worst case scenario with collecting payment afterwards. There is a lot of different ways you can do it. And this would actually make for a great video, sort of how do you collect payments for a customizer. Everything's sort of about trade-offs and weighing on a scale. So if we talk about things in terms of that, let's say you say, flat out, I am never going to get screwed. I am only going to take payment up front, full 100% payment. So if you do that here, the trade-off on the scale is you're going to turn some people away because they're going to say, well, I don't know what the end result's going to be like. Well, I don't want to pay you up front and then have to wait 2 to 3 months or whatever the case is. So by saying I need full payment up front, you're going to turn some people away. Now, if you say, but then there's no chance of you getting screwed because you have full payment up front, you know? But some people may think, how can I trust you, basically? You know what I mean? Especially if you're just starting out. Then if you decide to, on the opposite side of that, only collect payment afterwards, you might be able to take on more clients because people will say, well, hey, what's the risk, you know? I'll just not pay them if I don't like them or something like that. but then you've put in your time, your efforts, your materials, all of that type of stuff, and you run the risk of people not paying, flaking, not answering their phone, whatever the case may be. And then potentially a middle ground is half payment upfront and half payment afterwards, because that kind of protects both parties. You at least get a little bit of payment. Maybe that covers some of your materials, a little bit of your time. And then if, you know, you complete the shoes and the time comes where they're supposed to give you that other half payment, at least you got half the payment. Yeah, you did all the work, but at least you got half the payment and you're still holding the shoes. You're, of course, not going to give them to them without that other half payment. So it's a trade-off, you know what I mean? And I don't want to say there's a right or wrong way to do it, because I've certainly done both, and it sort of depends on the client and the project and the scope of it and what we're doing specifically. And so, yeah, it totally depends, but there's just a trade-off to all of those different ways, whatever you decide. You know what I mean? You might be able to take on more clients if you're a little more lenient with how you collect payment, but you run more of a chance of bad stuff happening, of not collecting full payment. And if you just decide, hey, you know what? I'm not getting screwed. If you don't like the way I conduct business, too bad for you. That's how we run stuff here at Javi's Custom Shop. And that is 100% okay. That is thumbs up to that. You know what I mean? Thumbs up to that. So yeah, let's see here. Good stuff, Javi. Super chat from XX God of War XX says, favorite custom. Thank you so much for sending in a super chat, buddy. These are far and away one of my favorites. Another question that we do get asked all the time is, you know, what shoe took you the longest to paint? What's your favorite shoe? What was the most difficult to do? This one is definitely the most difficult to do, and the most difficult to do, and the pair that I've put the most hours into. So these will always have a special place in my heart. I wish they were for me. I have to send them out to the client soon. They're actually a birthday gift. I wish I could keep them. But another favorite pair of mine would be the Chucky Air Forces that we did last year for Halloween, the Japanese tattoo Jordan 5s that I sort of always show on the channel, and the Brooklyn Nets Jordan 1 that we did last year for their City Edition jerseys. So thank you for sending in that super chat, buddy. Haram, hopefully I said that right. Haram D says, what is your favorite paint marker for fine detailed work? Something that is difficult to do with a paintbrush. I actually don't ever use paint markers. I am not a fan of them. There has never been any that I've really enjoyed. I've tried a lot of different brands, not just the Angelus ones, the Posca markers. I've tried everything, and to me, I enjoy doing stuff with, whether it is a super tiny detail brush or a toothpick. Of course, you know, the toothpick method. I'll show you a couple brushes that I do like to use. This brand I showed in the video for Transform Your Jumpman Quickly. It is a Jordan 3 Joker Jumpman as the thumbnail, if you're interested in checking that out. But here's a nice tiny round detail brush. This is a size 10, and this is of course it's not going to focus because it's so tiny. Maybe if I get out of the frame a little bit. Not so much. Maybe if I put my hand there, sometimes that works. Whoop. Yeah, you can kind of see it there now. If I get closer. Yeah, that's a nice brush. The brand is ZEM. These are available on Amazon, like a pack of 4 is, I'm pretty sure, under $10. These are actually decent brushes. These are cheap detail brushes that you can pick up from Michaels. The brand is Craft Smart, so that's just like a Michaels. I believe it's the Michaels in-house brand. 4 value pack of round detail brushes, and these are probably under $10 or so. Also, this has the cap on it, but these are nice detail brushes. And of course, something like this Barcelona logo. I do a lot of this stuff, like the black outline, all of the line work. I do that with a toothpick. And then sometimes I'll do a detail brush also. So, but thank you for sending in that, or thank you for asking that question, Ram. Let's see here. Let us see here. Anthony Miller Art says, Dylan, I'm a huge fan. I'm a 12-year-old realistic portrait custom artist. I was wondering if you could leave some comments on my art. My Insta is Anthony Miller Art. Anthony, please shoot me a DM to my Instagram, to Jesus Custom Footwear, and I would love to check out some of your work after the chat. Absolutely. Absolutely. Let's see here. Scotty's Custom Kick says, hey, to Jesus Custom Footwear in chat. How would you keep a color shade that you have made in a mixing jar? So one thing that I like to do for keeping colors for the short term, if you're not able to, if you don't have like additional bottles, like for example, I keep, you know, a lot of my Too Soft bottles. So this is like this Barcelona blue that I mixed just in an old Too Soft bottle. I keep it like that. But for temporary storage, when I know I only need a color to last about a week or so, I use these little cups, these 2-ounce cups, you know, that you can pick up from restaurant supply factories in huge quantities. I think the two brands that make them are maybe Souffle cups or like Solo cups or something like that, 2 ounces. And you can pick these up. And this is not long-term storage because the paint will dry up in there over time. But this is perfect for if you're going to be working on a project for about a week or so. And like I said, you can pick these up in the thousands for real cheap. So this is good for short-term storage. But other than that, let me see if I can get creative here. Try to show you guys something. Let's see if this works. Let's see. Okay. So I have my camera on. Look at this. You gotta love technology. Okay, so in the paint rack, let's even zoom in. So those are all the quarts of all the Angelus colors. Over in the storage over there, I don't even actually have them all because even more are in storage, but that's where I keep all the gallons. That's all the quarts of paint. Now this row right here is every color of stock Angelus paint. Now what I have on this second row here is going to be all custom mixes. So you'll see little things like Penn State and Vikings colorway and Bel Air and Mandala and Kentucky Blue and all this type of stuff. And so that is where Heineken, LBJ, South Beach 8, that's where I'll keep a lot of my custom mixes in old Angelus paint bottles. So like for example, you know, this Penn State bottle, it probably came from an old you know, an Angelus navy blue paint or something like that. And then down here we have more custom mixes, and down there we have a lot of the old Angelus paint bottles which were a little bit taller. All of those are custom mixes also. All right, look at that. You gotta love technology. Let's see here. So we got a couple of super chats. Pipple Custom Shoes says, sent another just because you deserve it. Thank you so much, Pipple. Huge supporter, and that really means a lot to us. So thank you, buddy. Let's see here. Another super chat from Keenan Bull says, when airbrushing Converse shoes, do I need to add too thin, duller, and too soft because the material is canvas? So when you are airbrushing a fabric, I have too soft and too thin. Oh, spilled a little of the too soft. Let me wipe that up. When you are airbrushing any type of canvas material, too soft will act as your thinner, so you don't need too thin. If you compare how liquidy these are, they're very similar. There's a word for it that OCD Custom just taught me. I think I would be saying it wrong, but viscosity, viscosity. I think it's viscosity, and that is, you know, kind of how liquidy a mixture is. I think it's viscosity. Hopefully the chat will help me out on that one. I should know that one, of course. But both of these are super liquidy, so if you use too soft, that's going to thin out your Angelus acrylic paint enough for it to run through an airbrush. So if you are airbrushing fabrics, canvas, suedes, anything like that, you do not need to add in too thin, most likely. Now there's a chance that if you do your 1-to-1 ratio of your paint and your too soft, if the mixture was still too thick, there's probably no chance of that happening. That's when you could add in a little too thin if you think your airbrush might need that, but very unlikely. Very unlikely. iOS Assault says, could you use your image transfer method while doing portraits? If you're doing portraits or realism, in my opinion, you need at least me, the way that my brain works, the way my eyes are trained to work and whatnot, you need something. So whether that be, the image transfer of tracing it out with tracing paper, transferring it over, or using some type of vinyl stencils to get a nice little roadmap, you need something. But yeah, with the image transfer technique, you could absolutely at least lay out where, the eyes go, the nose, the mouth, and things like that, because that's the most important thing when it comes to doing portraits, in my opinion. As soon as you move that mouth a little bit, or the nose is just shaped a little bit wrong, all of a sudden it just looks totally off, because you can really at least start to get the look of somebody by just nailing those things. Eyes, nose, mouth, chin, shape of the face, things like that. You're off to a great start if you can really nail those. Shay says, do you keep custom colors just because, or do you keep them in case you get more orders? A little bit of both. Definitely a little bit of both. I keep the custom colors just because, who knows, like let's say this Lakers yellow, chances are I'll be doing a Lakers shoe again in the future, so no reason not to keep it, and I don't want to waste paint. One thing that I have considered, there's not a great way for me to do it, but I would, because I'm lucky enough to have so much paint and whatnot, I've considered anytime I'm done with an order or a set of paint, finding a way to just each week give away all my paint that I didn't use for the week, because I have so much that sometimes I just end up throwing away a lot of those little cups and whatnot. So, I'm basically done with the red for this Barcelona, but I have almost 2 ounces worth of that red paint. So I think that would be an idea that I've played around with in the for the future. So, yep. Let's see here. Spectate Me YouTube says, what is a good starter airbrush? I recommend the Badger Patriot 105. You can pick up one of those for under $100. Let's see here. Amaya Keeling says, what dye do you use on sock liners and canvas? So I don't use any dye. I do mix too soft into the paint. So for sock liners, we just did a video on them 2 weeks ago. And yeah. Check that out, because it's a great walkthrough on doing a sock liner and how you will be able to keep it nice and soft. Using too soft and flat white. So the right magic with a great tip here, I would just use a flat paintbrush to prime canvas shoes using too soft and flat white. Yeah, so that's a great tip that I really like. Anytime I'm doing canvas, specifically like on Vans or something like that, I always like to hit them with a coat of white first, because that's really going to make the colors pop also. And if you guys have seen some of Mel's work before, you know that she does a lot of primarily Disney work. So you really need to make sure that your colors pop, and they absolutely do. So laying down a nice coat of white first is a great idea. Let me see. There was another thought I had to that. Yes, if I were to airbrush on Vans, on anything like that, I actually would lay down a coat of that white first with a paintbrush first, because you apply more paint with a paintbrush than you do with an airbrush. So even if I do plan on airbrushing, I still like to lay down at least 1 coat of white paint with a paintbrush first. That is also a tip that we talked about in our video on how to paint fabric shoes, where we painted a red Supreme Yeezy. Even though we started off with the all white Yeezy, the cream Yeezys, even though I'm going to paint the whole upper red, I still like to lay down a coat of white paint first with a paintbrush, because it's really going to make those colors pop. SMC Creation says, do custom colorways sell just as much as custom images? Absolutely. If you are good at them, there is a phenomenal artist. Let me make sure I get the name right here. I believe his name is on Instagram, Malcolm Garrett. Let me just double confirm that. And he does essentially, yes, Malcolm Garrett. Let's switch over here. He does basically just all simple colorways on Jordans. This is a pair of the Jordan 1 Bloodlines. He does simple colorways, and he does phenomenal work and stays extremely busy. So you can absolutely, if that is what inspires you, if that is what you really enjoy, you can absolutely do colorways exclusively. And look at how clean this stuff is. I mean, it's a talent to come up with stuff like this and do stuff that it looks like could be released by the factory. I know one of my favorite pairs from him was, let me try to find them. It was using the Bloodline Jordan 1s, and it was a Raptors. Yeah, look at these. Look at that. Looks like the old school Toronto Raptor. It would have been cool to see Vince Carter wearing these back in the Vinsanity days. Love those. Love those. So yes, you absolutely can do colorways. If that is what inspires you, you can do anything with art. Let's see here. The Pistons and Raptors ones. Yes, Daniel. Yeah, he does great stuff. Melly says, should I lay down a white coat on white mesh? Yes. So even when I was painting a lot of Roche ones a few years back, we would start typically with the white Roches. I would still lay down a coat of white first by hand, even though I was going to airbrush them. Mel from The Right Magic says, Dylan, please do a review on accessories like purses. I'd love to hear your take on my latest purse. That would be really cool. I think that would do. That would be a video I'd be real excited about in the future. Reviewing accessories, purses, bags, hats, stuff like that. I think that would be super cool. Kong Custom says, do you plan on doing a shoe surgeon course still? I really do. I'm not sure if he has started to offer up future dates for some possible courses with everything sort of going on this year, but I definitely do plan on doing one. I'm not sure if he's ever made his way to Chicago for one. That would be super cool, because then I wouldn't have to go anywhere. I know I was considering the one. He had one, I think it was April 12th. I think, unfortunately, that one didn't work for me. When I looked into it before everything really hit in March. I had looked into it in February, but I believe it was during Easter weekend. So that was why that date didn't work for me. But I definitely do plan on doing one of those in the future. Let's see here. Curtis Liam says, if you ever do a custom of your own design as not for a customer, where do you draw inspiration? Insta and Pinterest are my go-tos. Yeah, those are phenomenal for inspiration. You can get lost just searching through hashtags on Instagram and on Pinterest and things like that. Where I always draw inspiration from, that I always like to say, is the tattoo industry. I just love tattoo art. And I can easily get lost in that and come up with a lot of great stuff from there. Let's see here. Dizzy says, what detail brushes do you recommend? Maybe a 10-pack or something with plenty of choice. As far as if you just need super tiny brushes, these really cheap ones from Michaels would be, this isn't a 10-pack, but these are super tiny detail brushes that are of decent quality if you can take care of them. So for cost efficiency, I would pick these up. If you want a higher quality one, if you want to spend a little bit more money, some that I really enjoy that I have coming in the mail, I just ordered some new ones, is the Princeton Select series. This isn't a detail one, but Princeton makes some nice quality brushes. So this is just an angular shader from them that you can see. But I really like, I doubt I'd be able to show the text, but the Princeton Select series, these are great brushes. Let's see here. Oscar Moreno says, next DCF contest, it would be a cool TV series show inspired contest. That would be really cool. Yeah, TV series show. Oh, man. Oof. I could already think of some awesome Game of Thrones ones, some Dexter ones, some Breaking Bad stuff. That would be really cool. I haven't come up with it yet, but I've been waiting to do the perfect Dexter TV series show. shoe. I've been waiting for the perfect concept outside of course, just doing a blood splatter shoe. I know there's a lot I could do, of course, with it being a Miami themed show, but it's not like there was particularly ever a lot of emphasis on sunset themes or things like that. It's not like Dexter wore Hawaiian floral shirts or anything like that I could draw inspiration from. Even though the show was taking place in Miami, it's filmed in California. But yeah, I would love to do one of those. Yeah, TV series would be a good one. Some other ones that are definitely going to be in the future would be just saying video games. Anything video game inspired. Obviously, that's limitless. And Disney, because Disney owns everything. Star Wars, Avengers, of course, all the traditional Disney properties. That would be a great one. Let's see here. Bramos TKD says, hey, Dylan, I'm doing some 4th of July customs. They're red, blue, and going to have white splatter. I've never done splatter. Any tips? Absolutely. We have a splatter video that we put out about a year ago, and it walks through probably about 4 different methods for how you can achieve some different splatter effects. So sometimes you want that really tiny splatter. Sometimes you want some of that larger spurts with some of that stringy type look. And we walk through some of that stuff in the video. Dylan Solon says, airbrush or hand paint sock cleaner? Definitely airbrush, because you apply more paint when you paint with a hand brush. So the less paint you apply, the softer it's going to stay. So, yep. Let's see here. Let's see here. Javitas Rimkiss says, do you know of any paint for shoes that are sold in the EU? Because Angelus Paint is super expensive to get sent. I saw this come up in a YouTube video the other day that I think there might be a distributor who has some Angelus in overseas. So if anybody can help out in the chat, let G Vitas, sorry if I'm pronouncing your name wrong, Rimkiss, anybody who's overseas, where are you getting your Angelus paint from? Or are you just sort of sucking it up and paying the expensive shipping costs? Let me know. Xavier says, some of the best Angelus paint colors besides primary and secondary. Some that I really enjoy, I actually like sapphire blue more than I like regular blue. I really like pale blue rather than just taking regular blue and mixing white paint into it. I really enjoy the color mint. I actually enjoy the color violet more than purple. I really enjoy lilac. I don't think I just said that. I believe I said I like the color mint, which I do. I like the color rich brown. That is my favorite Angelus brown. I like the color tangerine more than I like orange. Funny enough, because some of the primaries are so hard to paint, I typically like the color that's next closest to it a little more. So I like sapphire more than blue, tangerine more than orange, violet more than purple, things like that. Play in the sand is a big one. I really like that a lot, use that a lot. What is the neon purple called? The Neon Paradise Purple. I like to use that color a lot. Yeah, those would be some of my favorites. Caramel and Buttercup. I actually like those a lot. So yeah, those would be some of my favorite other ones. Let's see here. Gabe says, where do you get your sandpaper? Do we have it linked in the description here? We do. We do. So if you click the description for the video here, you can use the Amazon link that we use. I think it's $20 for a huge pack of a ton of different grits. You can also pick it up on, of course, at Home Depot or your local hardware store. But if you're like most people, you like shopping on Amazon, we have a link for you there. Tyron Custom Sneakers says, so I'm having trouble getting my paint to stick on the Jordan 5 on the part where the material is much harder, like where the tongue is and the sides. How can I make it stick? So with that side netting. So with that, since that's a harder plastic, what I use for something like that, actually the way that I do that is I dye it first. So I use some Angelus dye. Let's say I'm painting black or brown or something like that. I use some Angelus dye. I dye it, and then what I do, after I prep it, of course, is then I use Angelus Paint with Too Hard for something like that. And that will hold up good. I have Jordan 5s that have been worn, and that has held up. So, yep. Dizzy says, hey, DeJesus Custom Footwear, have you ever done customs with adding fabric? Maybe sewing it on the shoe or glue the fabric on the shoe? How did it turn out? If so, I have not done any fabric stuff in the past because I don't know how to sew. I need to learn. Jar Customs actually recommended a nice little starter sewing machine to me that he's done a few little add-ons to his shoes. So that's something that I've absolutely considered. The way that I would use it would be pretty minimal, things like tongue tags and stuff like that. But I don't mind painting tongue tags also. On these Barcelona ones, not painted yet, but on these Kobe's, I painted, the 24 on one and the 8 on the other. I have no problem painting things like that, but it would be cool to, add some logos and stuff there, sewing it on for a nice, really clean look also. Dylan Stevenson says, that portrait work is outstanding. Dylan, keep up the great content. Thank you so much, Dylan. I really appreciate that. The feedback on this episode was awesome. It was definitely a different type of video, very raw, very open. Just sort of letting you guys in behind the scenes. It feels good doing that, and the feedback, the response from you guys, absolutely phenomenal. Spectate Me YouTube says, how do we get customs from you? If you're interested in contacting us, you can shoot me a DM on Instagram at DeJesus Custom Footwear. You can feel free to send me an email, contact@DeJesusInc.com, and we can gladly have a discussion about hooking you up with a pair of shoes. Let's see here. Zena, hopefully I said that right. Assam, sorry, I'm probably butchering that. I always like to at least give a shot at saying the names. But can we have marketing techniques for new custom business? I love your channel, by the way. Absolutely. That is, videos that we are always trying to come up with new ways for marketing custom shoes and things like that. So definitely something for the future. I'll say it again. I said it to start the stream almost an hour ago, but let's go ahead and say it again. Please feel free to send us some submissions of video ideas that you guys would like to see in the future from us. You know what I mean? A lot of stuff we've covered, but of course I have no problem covering it again because I think I've gotten minimally more comfortable on camera. I'm probably a little less awkward. If anybody's here from the start, one thing I can absolutely say about myself, I have toned down my hand usage. If you go back and look at some of the early videos, you're gonna get some Kung Fu Dylan because I have no idea what it is. What I think it potentially might be, when we were filming all those videos, any of our early videos, I'm standing, okay? So I'm talking for the video, but I'm standing, and I have no idea what to do with my hands. So I think I just illustrate and talk. I think I do this in daily life also. I'm just a hand talker, but I really have no idea what I'm doing when standing. I still use them a lot. I'm still a hand talker, but there's a lot less comments in the comment section on, I couldn't pay attention. This guy was using his hands too much. So that is funny. Archie Customizing and Vlog says, do you care that people copy your idea and Mac paid videos? I'm not sure what the second part of that question is, but this is actually a funny enough thing that has come up with this Kobe pair. On Facebook, I was tagged in a few posts of people posting these shoes and saying that they will make them for somebody. And it's funny because a lot of people are like, hey, you should watermark your photos. You should do that. People trying to steal your designs. I hate watermarks. I understand why they exist. I really do. I hate watermarks. It's just, I really truly do understand them. No, I have no problem with people using them. I totally get it. But to me, there's so many hours that goes into the shoe. For me, there's so many hours that goes into the thought of the photo concept. How am I going to photograph these? Even though I could do a watermark the correct way, very minimal, not distracting at all, there is no way I am throwing text over something that I spent 50 plus hours on. A photograph that took us a couple hours to set up probably. You know what I mean? A while to perfect. There is zero chance I'm throwing text on something that has all that meaning to me. And, you know, in a way, I don't care if somebody wants to paint a Kobe portrait on a Jordan 1. I'm not the first person to do it. And yes, it's very unfortunate if they repost these and say they could do them for a client. A client pays money and they're not able to deliver a portrait. I'm not saying that somebody can't do a portrait as good as this, because that's absolutely not the case. But let's say they were lying and they weren't able to do a good portrait. That's very unfortunate for that customer who bought those. But also at the same time, another thing that I would absolutely say, if somebody's paying good money for custom sneakers, I think that they should go out of their way to vet the customizer they're going to be working with. Of course, scam artists can happen in any industry, but you know, if you're going to be spending the type of money that we charge or something like that, I expect somebody to really look through the catalog and really say, okay, that person's clearly capable of doing this type of work that I'm looking to order. So yeah, that is what I would say about that. Let's see here. The chat is flying, 145 plus people. Thank you guys so much for being here. So awesome to see all of your beautiful faces on this Friday, June the 26th. Like I said, I can't believe we are already almost at the end of June. Crazy. It has been a crazy year. Let's see here. I love when a question gets asked and the chat just flies in with great responses that say somebody says, how do you prevent the indestructible? JK says, how do you prevent the paint from falling off? And right away everybody comes and just says prep work, prep work, prep work, prep work. And that is so true. That is absolutely so true. Daniel Valdiva says, hey, Dylan, could we see a custom face-off between Jason versus Brittany? No hard feelings at Jason. He knows this, but Brittany is talented. Brittany would probably wipe the floor with Jason. Brittany has done a lot of painting in the past. If there's any males out there running a custom sneaker business, give your lady friends, your partners, a shot at painting, because you would be surprised. I think women just have a higher attention to detail. If they've done any painting, whether it's painting on their nails or anything like that, sometimes they've just done it more than men in the past, and you would be surprised. Brittany hadn't done any, painting. She wasn't, an artist per se before helping me out, but she can do some clean work. If Brittany was to do anything, she would do kind of that Malcolm Garrett style, just clean factory colorways, not the crazy busy, all over the place airbrush texture work that I love and enjoy. Just clean, simple colorways, look like it came straight out of the factory. That is the type of stuff that she would be doing. Marl-Dane Luna sends in a super chat. Thank you so much, buddy. What is the best piece of advice you've ever been given? Wow. This is a question that would probably keep me up at night, and I don't want to answer too quick because I don't want to change my mind later. But what is the best piece of advice you've ever been given? I am, wow, what would I say? If Brittany were here right now, she would let me know, because I'm somebody who always kind of quotes stuff and lives by simple. I'm somebody who always has a quote or a rule for a moment that we're sort of in. Best advice I've ever been given. Wow. I don't want to say something like never give up, of course. Best piece of advice I've ever been given. Wow. Best piece of, I'm trying, of course, to apply it to business, although it doesn't have to. What is the best advice I've ever been given? My dad is good at advice. So I'm trying to think of the moment where I told Papa de Jesus that I didn't want to be an architect and I was going to pursue a career in sneaker customizing. And I know he said, In that moment, he said, you know, Dylan, it's your life, and I fully support anything you want to do. Remember, it's your life. You know what I mean? And I support you in anything you want to do. So let's see. Oh, this is a good one. I don't want to say something too quick and then remember it tomorrow. What would it be? That's a good one. Take a drink of water. I'm going to think about that one. I'm going to think about that one, Marlene. I think it'll come to me. Yeah, like I said, this is one that's going to keep me up now. Best advice I've ever been given. That's a good one. That is a good one. Let's see here. Oscar13 sends in a super chat. Thank you so much, Oscar. How to spray a fade on Air Max Zero with the materials. I'm not sure if that is supposed to say 90. Let me know, Oscar. Or if you did mean an Air Max Zero. Let me know, Oscar. At me in the chat. Just type at and then DeJesus Custom Footwear. And let me know. Let me know if you meant 90s or an Air Max Zero. To be honest, I'm not sure. Yeah, there is Air Max Zeros. Let's pull one up. Air Max Zeros came out a couple years ago, right? Let me see here. Ah, yes. Okay, yeah, an Air Max Zero. So I'm sure that's what you meant. Air Max Zero has some different materials. Yeah. Okay, so yeah, there's some fabric portions. There's some parts that have that weird plastic coating. So I would absolutely treat depending on the colorway, I imagine there's some different materials on different colorways. Definitely the fabrics you would want to paint a little bit different, of course, with some Angelus 2 Soft or GAC 900. Taking a look at these all white ones. The dolphin theme shoes you worked on, yes, that was an Air Max Zero. That was I think that was this colorway here on, it's funny, I don't even remember, I'm sure I showed them in that video, but I think that was this all white colorway here. And it wasn't a leather, but yeah, I know I sanded it down. I didn't use any weird additives or anything like that. I didn't use too hard or anything like that. You only want to use too hard on an area that's never going to bend or flex. That's why I recommended it on like the netting on a Jordan 5. But yeah, for these, just sanded those areas down, scuffed them up, sand them, scuff them, acetone, and then I just painted them regular. Straight paint, no additives, no too soft, no too hard on the harder materials. But I did do too soft, of course, on the fabric. So yes, let's see here. Let's see here. Okay. Super chat from Haram D. Thank you so much. Just sending one in. Truly appreciate you, buddy. Let's see. Looks like Jerson had asked the question, but I see a lot of people helping him. That's good. I don't see the original question. But yeah, good to see you guys helping each other out in the chat. Absolutely. VFern6 says, hi Dylan, what vinyl would you recommend for vinyl stencils? There's two that I recommend. Oracal 811, if you're just starting out, just playing around with vinyl. If you are experienced, if you know how to use vinyl pretty well, if you're not afraid of paint peeling because you know that you have the proper painting and prepping methods, then you can use an even stronger one, like an FDC 3700 glitter vinyl. And that is really strong stuff. Super chat from Johnny's Life. Keep up the good work. You have serious talent. Thank you so much, Johnny. Truly appreciate that. Thank you guys for sending in those super chats. We truly, truly appreciate it. Romeo Django says, hardest shoe you have had to work on. The hardest shoe I've had to work on. So when I think of that question, I think of, you know, not necessarily the hardest theme, which I would say was the portrait work on this Kobe pair, but you know, a hardest shoe to paint on. Jordan 4s, because Jordan 4s have so many weird materials. There's so many. I hate working on Jordan 4s because there is just so much to it. So I would say hardest shoe to work on. Those were hard. I painted a pair of the Platinum Yeezy 2s. Those were hard to work on. That was probably only in my first or second year of customizing also. So I was scared to be working on that expensive of a shoe. So that is what I would say for those. Daniel says it was about skin tones, Dylan. You know what's funny? After the portrait challenge, I've received a lot of questions and says, "Hey Dylan, what color can I use for skin tones? What color do you want to use?" Something like that. And what's so funny is skin tones are made up of countless colors. Although you may say, you know, you may look at me and say, okay, you have, you know, sort of this somewhat tan skin. You know, Kobe has darker skin, but it obviously depends on the lighting of the subject and, you know, where you're at and location and like I said, lighting and things like that. So totally depends on the reference photo and things like that. So there is not one paint color that you can make that's going to work for all skin tones because truthfully, whether you're painting me or Kobe, you're going to use a lot of the same colors. It's just in different areas. You know what I mean? So, of course, naturally, Kobe's going to have more of the darker colors, but depending on the lighting, you know, if I have all of this light hitting my face here, now on this side of my face, it's going to be a lot darker. You would actually be using a lot darker colors for painting me. And then, of course, under my hat, you know, all that darkness to really create that depth, you would be using darker colors and things like that. So it's a challenge to really look at a reference photo and really start to understand where all of the color goes. Natalie here sends in a super chat, or Natalia, excuse me, says, anyone you can recommend who does heels, ballet flats, other shoes really well? Natalia, let me know what theme you would potentially be looking at to have done on your heels or your ballet flats. Whether you're just looking for simple colorways or if you're looking for something a little bit more extravagant, like let's just say a Disney theme or something like that, because I know a Disney theme artist who I can absolutely recommend. But Natalia, let me know what you might be looking for, because that's an interesting question that I might need help from the chat on some really talented customizers who do a lot of heels and ballet flats. I'm trying to think of who can I think of that does a lot of heels or ballet flats. Nobody is coming to mind right off the bat, but I'm sure the chat would be able to help me out. But let me know, Natalia, what you are thinking about. Super chat from Armando Gonzalez says, thank you for all the advice you have helped in my path. Thank you so much, Armando. Truly appreciate that, and I'm glad that we have been here to help. All I want to be to you guys is I want to be the resource that I sort of wish I had when I was starting out. I want to build a community here where people can come, hang out, and get to meet other customizers. And I think that's really happened. I think, thankfully, here on this channel, thanks to you guys, a lot of people have been able to meet on this platform. Relationships have been built. Certainly a lot of you guys. I talk to a lot of you guys on a regular basis, potentially just as much as I talk to some of my friends. I'm chatting with a lot of you guys all the time, and so it's super cool to have that. Let's see here if Natalia ever said, just looking for some inspiration. Yeah, so chat room, let's open it up. Who do you guys think does a lot of heels or ballet flats, other shoes, really well? I'm also interested to check out some of these artists. So chat room, help us out there. Damaris Harvey says, at Dylan DeJesus, how do I become a good customizer? I want to make this a full-time job. Your opinion would greatly help, as well as shading. I'm very good at that. Gotcha. So yeah, I think consistency, trying to find a way to stand out, because it is becoming a little bit more of a competitive space. but you just need to find what is Demarius's voice, who is Demarius as an artist, what is going to separate you from everybody else, why should potential clients pick you over other artists. You need to really find that, find out what you really stand for, and I think that is how you can grow as a customizer and make this a full-time job. I think when you think of some of the big names in the industry, you think of themes and things that they have become known for, and things like that. So that is some of my advice that I would say there. Let's see. Xavier says, do you guys recommend slowly building up your collection of paint colors or get a load at once? So what I will say about paint colors is, let me let's go all out and demonstrate here. Give me one moment, please. I really want to provide, I of course want to provide value for you guys here, okay? So, let's take a look at here and let's talk about some math. So, my numbers could be a little off, but here we have a 1 ounce bottle of Angelus paint. I believe this sells on Angelus site for $3. This is 1 ounce of paint. This is a 4 ounce bottle of paint. Therefore, that means it is 4 of these little 1 ounce bottles. However, this is twice the price. So it's 4 times the paint, but twice the price. Now, as we move from a 4 ounce bottle to a pint, this is, again, 4 times the paint, okay? Again, it is also twice the price. So for twice the price, you can get 4 times the paint. Now, as we move from a pint to a quart, this is twice the paint. It's not 4 times the paint and twice the price anymore, but it is not double the price either. I can't think of the exact cost of a quart, but I believe this is $3 for the 1 ounce, $3 for the 1 ounce, $6, double the price for the 4 ounce. If this is 6, I believe a pint is 12, maybe $14 or something like that. But again, it's 4 times the paint. A quart, double the paint of a pint. I think a quart is $20, I want to say. And then here we have a gallon, which is 4 quarts, and it is maybe triple the price, something close to that. Let me let's pull it up here, just so we can be exact. So sort of as you can afford to buy in larger quantities, you're gonna save a lot of money. But you also don't want to buy gallons of paint if you don't think you'll be using a gallon of navy blue for 10 years or something like that. You know what I mean? Okay, so Angelus actually doesn't even sell a lot of gallons anymore for almost any of the colors. They're not even listed on the site, so I don't think you can even buy gallons anymore. So again, yes, 1 ounce of paint, $3. As we get 4 times the paint, double the price, $6 for a 4 ounce. A pint, which is 4 times the paint of a 4 ounce. This is $16 versus $6, so it's not double the price. It's like 2.5 times. And so this is $16 for double the paint of a quart. That is $24. So, yeah, you just save money sort of as you buy in larger quantities. That's sort of with anything in life. But, you know, if you're just starting out, it is nice to have a lot of different colors, because otherwise, sometimes trying to make a specific color, if you don't have a lot of colors at your disposal, you might end up wasting a lot of paint. But I totally understand when you are just starting out that it can things can get expensive very, very quickly. And believe me, I understand what it's like to not have all the money when starting out to get all of the different paints. I have a pretty funny photo. Let me see if I can find it super quickly, of me working at Mom and DeJesus's kitchen table with a little paint rack that I built with all of my paints at the time. I think I do have this. Let me see. Yep. So I built this out of foam core. Mind you, I'm an architecture student at the time, so I'm like, okay, yeah, I'll just build a little paint rack for the for what I have at the time. Oh, we got a date on here too. Check that out. Look at the top. Look at the top, folks. August 10th, 2012. So approaching 8 years since this. Working at Mom's kitchen table, and you can see all the little 1 ounces of paint. This is back when Angelus had the tall, skinny bottles, all the paintbrushes, the old De Jesus custom logo and business cards. Here we have what was going to be a Miami Nights Jordan 7, inspired by the LeBron 8 Miami Nights, and a, look at that text. Oh boy. God bless you, young Dylan. God bless you. Ooh, boy. Hurts to look at. But an Eminem inspired Jordan 3. Oh, and we have a pair of Freddy Krueger Jordan 5s. Take a look at, yikes, man. Just the, ooh, boy. The, me trying to do, oh boy, trying to do Freddy's skin. Ay, ay, ay. We have come a long way, folks. We have come a long way. But yeah, cool to see. And so I know what it's like to only be able to afford a little bit of paint when starting out. Let's see here. Another super chat comes in from XX God of War. Thank you so much, buddy. Truly appreciate that. Lisa Tight says, check out Claire Marie Artist. She does incredible heels for weddings. Very cool. Very cool. Definitely have to check that out. Let's see here. V Ferns, excuse me, says, another question, Dylan. What vinyl cutter would you recommend? I currently have the Silhouette Portrait 2. Want to get a bigger one? I have the Silhouette Cameo 2 and the Silhouette Cameo 3. The Silhouette Cameo 4 released this past October and November. So that's the newest model that you can also pick up. So definitely. Let's see here. Yep, some people saying they have the Cameo 4s. A lot of talks about the gallons. Yeah, has Angelus not sold the gallons for a long time? Am I crazy? I guess I haven't had to order gallons in quite a while because I have probably the 20 main colors that I use in gallon form. Because when I worked downtown, there was, when I had a downtown studio, there was about a 3-year period, probably about 2015 to 2018, where we were just massive quantities selling working on lower cost shoes like the Roches, things like that. And we were pumping out multiple pairs a day. Over the course of a year, 365 days, we were probably doing 500 pairs, 5 to 6, probably more than that, because that's when football started to pick up too. Yeah, probably about 600 pairs a year then. And now that's about half that or so. So, yes. Let's see here. Rusty says, what a legit 2020 flex. That is funny stuff, man. That's good stuff. Good stuff here. Dylan got gallons. That is too funny. Let's see. Have you ever done a show? Okay, so here's a question. Who asked this one? Is it it's about Intercoat. Where is it at? The chat flies. Sometimes it's hard to keep up. Sometimes it's hard to refine the question and say the name of the person that asked it. It was about the Intercoat. The Real King Agony says replacement for Liquid Kicks Intercoat. So Liquid Kicks sent me some of that. Intercoat. Let's read the instructions. It says for use with stencils, not for use as a final finish. Liquid Kicks top coat is super durable. So that's about their coating. That's about their sealer. Leather tie is compatible or water-based. Okay, so those... Yeah, so it just says this is for use with stencils. So I think the thought behind this is that you lay this down before you apply vinyl stencils, and then your paint won't peel. To me, the answer to that is prep work, quite simply. And yeah, so I paint the entire upper of these, and then I lay down a stencil of the Barcelona shield, and then do some color work in there. Of course, I do all the details with, whether it be a toothpick or a detail brush. But you would, it's funny how glossy these look right now, because of the lighting. But I don't think you need this product as long as you prep correctly. That's why I haven't used it, because I'm not worried about paint peeling. Because let me tell you why I don't want to use this. Because if I use this and then I lay down, my mind is distracted and I have to ask a question as I'm looking at this right now. Is beige spelled wrong here? Is beige spelled B-E-I-G-E, or is it actually B-I-E-G-E? Because I think I always write it with the E first. I before E except after C is sort of the rule. I before E except after C, and it's I before E here. Is beige spelled with an E first or an I? Because I lost the spelling bee in 5th grade on the word receipt. R-E-C-E-I-P-T. And I know I had said I-E-P-T. And I'm still mad about it. So is beige actually B-I-E-G-E? And I have been thinking about it in my head wrong for all these years? That's a funny thought. But back to this. The reason I don't want to use a product like this is because let's say it actually does the job of it somehow makes the paint not peel up once you apply vinyl stencils. Let's say that were the case. And, you know, I peel back my stencil around this Barcelona shield and none of the paint peels up. But let's say it would have if I didn't use a product like this. I need to know that because that means that I didn't prep or paint correctly. Paint should not peel up. If paint peels up, that means that the paint is not actually bonded. If you lay down taper vinyl, that means that the paint is not actually bonded. So I need to know that. Otherwise, we have problems. So using a product like this hides me from knowing that, in my opinion. I got to see what you guys say about beige here. Am I crazy, or is beige, is it I-E or is it E-I? Let's see. Autocorrect makes it beige when I typed in. It's beige. So all of you guys are saying it is E-I-G-E. Wow. That rule is BS. Science, the I is after the C, and it's still before the E. No. I before E, except after. Wow. Mind blown. Mind blown, 1988. You're right. He says that rule is BS. Science, in the word science, the I is after the C, and it's still before the E, and you absolutely spelled science correctly. Wow. Yeah, I don't know why. This just caught my eye as I was answering a question. I'm like, why does that look a little weird to me? Like sometimes you just look at a word and it just looks odd. That looks odd with the I there. So all of you guys are saying that the E is first. So that is funny. That is funny. That's funny. Beige. So they actually have it spelled wrong, huh? Yeah, everybody says EI. That's funny. Good stuff. Yeah. Dano says so many of these products aren't necessary. They're really not, guys. Like, it's sort of like if you just prep correctly. I mean, that's literally the most important thing. There's no point in painting custom shoes for wearing if you're not going to prep them correctly. Okay, if they're just for fun, you're just painting. Who cares? Which is what you see a lot of on YouTube, of course. But you know, if they're for wearing, you have to prep them. Okay. Basically, it peels. So Rupsy says that it's to keep paint from getting under your stencil. Interesting. So it's not necessarily about the paint not peeling from the vinyl, maybe. Interesting. Pedro says, funniest, weirdest custom you've ever had to do. There is nothing that, like, outside the norm that I've had to do that, there's been, like, odder requests that haven't gone through. The weirdest one I ever got was somebody said, I have a pair, this is many years back. This is sort of when I first started out. He had a pair of the anniversary Jordan 11s, which, if you guys know a lot of your Jordan colorways, that was the all-white pair of Jordan 11s. Those probably came out 2009 or 10 or something like that. Maybe even older than that, but they were all white. And he said that he got shot in them and there was blood all over them. And he wanted me to, like, paint. I think he wanted me to make he wanted me to blend in the blood stains with more paint. And I don't think he was lying with how the email was typed out and the request was. Like, I think he was serious about it. And that was one of the weirdest requests I had ever received. But yeah, I've been asked to, hey, can you paint me on a pair of shoes or something like that? So some stuff like that, but I haven't. Nothing comes to my mind as far as weirdest things I've ever done. But the story about the guy getting shot and then wanting me to add more blood to, like, make a design was definitely one of the weirder requests for sure. Playbook Custom says, who was the first athlete to rep your work? The first athlete I ever worked with was Malcolm Thomas on the Chicago Bulls during probably the 2012 season. One of the bigger athletes to wear them on the field and sort of get some press and things like that. Some of the bigger ones would be Eric Ebron to start, and then Mark Sanchez wore a pair for Monday Night Football during Veterans Day, probably 2014. So that was a big one also. Okay, so here's a follow-up to our beige and I before you accept after C. Lisa says, except when sounded like A as in neighbor and way or beige. That's the second verse to I before E except after C. So if the IE makes an A sound like neighbor, that's where you keep the I before the E. Neighbor and way. Interesting. Okay, Lisa. Interesting. It has been a long time since I have been in school or learned things about grammar or something like that. So, yeah, Rupsy says, bro, the English language is trash. I feel bad for anybody who is who English isn't your first language and tries to learn it, because it is, it's insane. You know what's funny? Very irrelevant story to anything, but we're here and this is my show, so I could talk about anything I want, right? A funny story, when this is when I'm very young, I don't know, maybe 3, 4, 5 years old. I'm starting to learn everything you learn, spelling, words, all this type of stuff. Who knows, maybe a little bit older. I remembered the word phone. I remember asking my parents over and over, why is it spelled with a PH and not an F? And I just could not get over it. I was so mad as a child. What do you mean this is not spelled with an F? You know, because they teach you, sound it out, sound it out. Okay, when I sound out the word phone, I hear the letter F. All right, that's enough of that story. Nobody wants to... Oh, I'm still mad 20 plus years later why phone is not spelled with an F. Whoever wrote that English language is something. G Customs here says, I can't afford enough shoes to paint and I don't know what content to put out on my channel. What should I do? What I recommend doing is, this is something, I do have a video on this coming up soon, but let's say you're able to afford a couple base shoes. Paint them, get boatloads of content out of them. I've said this before, but what you can then do is acetone the shoes off, acetone the paint off of the shoes, repaint it. Even if, let's say, you have an all-white Air Force One, you could acetone it off, and then if they're just for display purposes or for you to get content out of, you could respray them all white again. You could respray them light gray. You could respray them black or something like that as a base, and then do new designs and get new content out of that. So if you could afford one base shoe, if you have more time than money, you could put in the work and do that. And that is something that I absolutely would recommend, because then you could get unlimited content out of that. So, absolutely. This is the best chat we've ever had, because now we just have we have a bunch of grammar lessons going on. We have people talking about other examples of I before E. Bad beat Nick says foreign neighbor receives 8 counterfeit. It's crazy, that damn English language. I'm somebody who only speaks one language. I'm spoiled that we as Americans aren't forced to learn another language like so much of the rest of the world. I've done a few video chats with people who, some consultation calls with people who want to learn stuff about custom sneakers, and from all over the world. And I'm just so impressed. People in Dubai, people just all across the world. And they're just able to communicate with me in English perfectly. And I'm just amazed that somebody like myself who hasn't had to learn another language, I certainly not confidently enough. I could sort of get by if I was thrust into a Spanish-speaking country. I could get around. I could do a little bit. I learned Spanish the most from playing soccer growing up. I took Spanish 3 years in high school, but I know a little bit. But what's interestingly enough is if you guys saw at the Apple conference, what's crazy about technology is how much our phones and devices are going to be able to do in the future for helping you with translating another language and things like that. It's crazy. Who knows? I think that there's just a chance that we get down the road to where you don't even need to. Who knows? The phone might be able to just help you have the conversation. What's funny is we don't have to talk about him too much, but if anybody listens to Joe Rogan, the funniest part to me of his most recent episode with Elon Musk is he kept just asking, because with Elon they always talk about AI and where it's going and all that. He just keeps asking, how long till I don't have to talk? Because AI does it for us and whatnot. And he just keeps asking that to Elon. And it was just so funny that he's just so interested by that one day we might not have to talk, that our devices or our chips inside of us or whatever will do that for us. But we are way out there today. So anybody still hanging out, chatting about custom shoes or anything like that, thank you guys for being here. This is a wild one. This is way outside the norm, but this is super cool. Let's see here. Gina has a great question. Let me see here. Gina says, hey, Dylan, I've gotten a few requests for very detailed customs, including a portrait. I gave them very fair prices, and they still said the price is too high. Should I lower the price to get the order? That's a great question, Gina. So my answer for that would be, it depends how busy are you with other orders? You know what I mean? Are you at a spot where maybe you don't have that many orders, so you want to take on the business, and maybe think of it as, I'm going to take this on at a lower price because it's going to pay off in the long run. Because let's say somebody says here they want very detailed customs or portrait work. I know your work, Gina. I know you don't want to give anything less. Everything I've seen from you has been incredibly detailed. I know you wouldn't even put out anything less. So you could look at it as, I'm going to expand out my portfolio, okay? So I'm going to take on this job now. I'm making money from it. It's not as much as I may think it's worth, but it's going to be worth it in the long run for me, because I'm going to build out my portfolio. This shoe that I'm going to do, I'm going to knock it out of the park for this client, because it's going to generate me future business also. And so that's one way to think about taking on projects, is how will they generate me future business? I know it's very easy to be in the moment and want to say, how much is this job going to make me right now? But try to think about, how is this going to bring me future business also? But if you're super busy, you have a lot of orders, you don't need to you don't need to just fill up the shelves with more orders for people who want to pay you less, when you know that your work is worth more. And this goes to why sometimes people wanting to work with athletes, celebrities, things like that. I don't think it's a bad thing to. A lot of people peers in the custom sneaker industry would say that it is asinine to ever do work for free. And that is okay to believe that. I have been paid for 98% of all of the celebrities and athletes that I've ever worked with have paid and paid well. I've done a few free projects in the past, but I've viewed them as, how will this generate me future business? Maybe, of course, you know, sometimes empty promises of them saying they'll shout it out, but not just how are they going to bring me future business? How am I going to get content out of this and market this for future business myself? So I actually, for something like this, the customer actually just said, I want a Kobe pair for my brother. I want a Kobe anything. You can do anything you want. I gave him a very fair price. He didn't even say, I want Kobe portrait. I could have done a Lakers colorway and he would have been happy. But everything that lined up with me wanting to do this portrait challenge, I said, you know what? Hey, even though he paid this price, I'm going to go way out of my way to do this Kobe portrait. I'm going to knock this thing out of the park, hopefully, fingers crossed. And I'm going to market this in a way that will generate me future business, even if this customer paid potentially a little bit less than what I may value these at. If somebody asked for, hey, how much for a pair just like that, I would say 5 times the price of what I charged the person for these. But that's okay, because now I get content around this. I get to do these. I get to put these in the portfolio. I get to create a lot of content out of them and market these for future potential clients. And I've already received a ton of business from doing these. So that is one way that I would think about it, Gina, because you truly are a phenomenal artist, that maybe you view it as, I'm going to do these to add these to my portfolio, and it's going to generate me a lot more future business. So that's how I would think about it, Gina. I know sometimes as an artist, as talented as yourself, it could almost hurt and be shameful to work at a lower cost than what you know you're worth. But try to put the positive spin on it like that. That's what I would say to it. Hope that helped. Rupsy with the follow-up to the inner coat says, it's kind of like spraying a finisher after you lay your stencil, or laying a coat of the same color of the shoe before laying down color to prevent bleeding under your stencil. Gotcha. Okay. I see it. Also, they claim that you can lay down inner coat paint, something over it, and use acetone to only remove that one layer without affecting the layer under. Interesting. Okay, cool. It is hard for me to doubt Liquid Kicks because of how good their finisher is. Their finisher is the best I've ever used. So, although this product, I won't, because I'd like to be honest with you guys, this sounds a little gimmicky to me right now, almost that I don't need it. Some of the stuff you're saying, I am interested. 1988 says, imagine being asked to paint a shoe that's going to be used as evidence in court later. I can't picture a scenario where that would be, but that would be interesting. Like I know, for example, in the Aaron Hernandez case, not that we have to go into it, but I think Jordan's shoe prints were, I think he wore like a size 13, and maybe every Jordan outsole has a very signature look. I think that in his case, footprints from Jordans were used, which isn't necessarily what you're tying into, but it is something that came to my mind. Claudia Bull says, you can just paint the same color as your background to have the paint not bleed throughout the stencil. Absolutely. Yeah, so what I do, just reiterating that, what I did for this, I have this Barcelona shield here. So what I did was I painted the blue upper first, I laid down the Barcelona shield, and then the color that I laid in there was the yellow. But what I actually did first was lay down a coat of the blue so that if any paint leaks underneath that stencil, it's going to be blue. And then I lay down my yellow on top of that. Of course, I don't spray yellow on top of the blue. I have to get it to like a misty color first, then do my yellow on top. You guys know me, yada, yada, yada. Michael Orlando says, are you doing another Halloween? Are you doing another Halloween competition? I would say that is pretty likely. We might be a little more specific on, I don't know. maybe we just say anything Halloween related again. Maybe we're more specific with it has to be a Halloween movie, a Halloween horror movie type theme, maybe something like that. Maybe it's Halloween season, but we switch up the theme because we're already the DCF floral contest ends July 31st. That's when all entries are due. We will be filming the Reviewing Your Customs episode August 19th, I believe, is when that is scheduled for. So that already puts us near the end of August. Halloween is 2 months away from that, so it would already be sort of time to announce our next contest after that. How long have we been going here? Hour 41. Oh man, this is a good long one. Okay, guys, we'll go another 10-15 minutes or so. Yeah. Let's see here. G Custom says, if I don't have any shoes to paint, what content should I put on my channel? Yeah, Daniel follows up, says, buy secondhand shoes cheap. Absolutely. Go thrifting if possible. Check out eBay for used shoes. You can definitely find some. Ask your friends, family, hey, you got any shoes cheap that you'll give me or I can buy or anything like that? Absolutely. Ryan Thumbelina says, hey, Dylan, are you doing Insta reviews? If you guys want, let me know. If you want to see some Instagram reviews, I am down to check some out to end the stream today. Pitbull Custom Shoes sends in another super chat, third one of the day. Wow, thank you, buddy. If you ever need any photo edits, let me know. Thank you for that. Truly appreciate that, Pitbull. One idea that I have had for a video, a 2-Minute Tuesday. We haven't really done 2-Minute Tuesdays in much at all this year, just because it's so hard for me to do. But one I have been thinking about doing is how to make your shoes float. I sort of mocked it in the Marco video. I sort of showed a little behind the scenes of how we made them float with the Ben & Jerry's yellow background for our Chunky Dunky Jordan 1, but maybe doing a tutorial on how you do it, everything, the setup, how you do the photoshopping, all that. If you guys would be interested in that as potentially a 2-Minute Tuesday, that would be something that we would absolutely consider. Mel says, we are artists, not English professors. That is the truth. That is for sure. That is for sure. Grindhouse sends in a super chat, says, this is dope. Thank you so much, Grindhouse. Truly appreciate you sending in that super chat. Stefan, I saw this question a couple times. Do you have any advice on how to work with brandless shoes? So I think you might be talking about maybe some cheaper quality shoes. I know you had asked, that the paint didn't come off or something like that. So typically if you're working with, let's just say you're working with like a cheap Walmart shoe or Payless or something like that. Typically, since those are cheaper shoes, they're a little bit lower quality. So they might prep a little bit differently. So I think your question might have been, hey, some of the factory coating or that top painting isn't coming off. I'm not getting the grade to reveal underneath. Does that mean they're not going to hold up? It doesn't necessarily mean that. If you know that you went through the proper prep protocols, you sanded them, you scuffed them up, if you did all that, if you put in that time and work, they can still hold up. However, since they are cheaper materials, the paint might not bond as well. There is absolutely a chance of that. But I think that you could... They're great for practice. They're okay for working on. I think that you could make a wearable custom out of using a cheap off-brand type shoe. So, yep. Geeky Acrylic says, I did 2 years of French and 3 years of Spanish, but holy hell, if you don't use it, you lose it. I can only remember basic stuff. That is for sure. That is for sure. Marb says, what words or phrases did you learn from playing soccer? No good ones that would probably get the channel demonetized, or at least this video demonetized. So yeah, that's funny. That is funny. Let's see here. A lot of people. I see a lot of people following up to when I was talking about Gina's question about lowering price potentially, and I love this. A lot of strong artists in here saying stand up for yourself, know your worth, work on your negotiating skills. Totally agree with all of that stuff. So many different ways you can approach it, guys. I've done everything in the books over the years. I've said I've made that. I've said that in my head that, hey, I'm going to do this for a lower cost because it's for the portfolio, things like that. And now I'm at a point where I don't have to take on anything for a lower cost because I don't need to, not that I don't want to, but I don't need to take on projects to pay the bills or to build out the portfolio or things like that. I can be a little more stubborn if I want and say, you don't like the price? There's other people that do. You know what I mean? So, yeah, totally get that stuff. Kong Custom says, hey Dylan, do you know of any alternative learning opportunity for deconstruction work besides the shoe surgeon classes? Kong, I think you are out in Seattle, buddy. I would search up Seattle shoe construction course nearby because there is definitely cobblers in every major area that offer shoemaking courses. So, yep, that is absolutely there. Absolutely there. Absolutely search those ones up. Rupsy says Norrell the Cobbler does an Air Jordan 1 online class. Interesting. Haven't heard of that. I'd have to check that out. Let's see here. With pricing, I just like simple design is lower price, more detailed. B Fern says, with pricing, I charge my customs like a tattoo. Simple design is lower priced, more detailed, and time means higher price. Yeah, interesting. I sort of always use the tattoo comparison example. Also, when anybody's reaching out, hey, how does your pricing work? And the best way I can sort of describe it is it works pretty similar to a tattoo artist. I sort of take what you're giving me as far as what you want from the design, and I sort of have in my head how long it's going to take me. More complex designs, of course, will have a higher price. If we're doing something a little bit simpler, maybe it's a little bit more on the lower cost end. So yeah, I definitely say that also. Let's see here. Prime Sneaker says, what program did you use to make the portrait stencils? Can you do a 2-Minute Tuesday on that? So check out our video. I think it's called Quick Portrait Stencil Guide. You do need Photoshop for that. You can also use photop.com. But yeah, check that out. That video walks through. That's a good tutorial on that. Fabian says, who's better, Ronaldo or Messi? I think that Messi is like MJ and Ronaldo is like LeBron. So I'm an MJ stan that I think Jordan is the best ever. LeBron is going to end up as a close second. I think Messi's the best ever. He makes everybody better, but Ronaldo is just a freak of nature who can go on any team and just dominate by himself. But Messi, just a magician, just one of the most beautiful players to ever watch. Yes. Let's see here. This is cool stuff here. So Oscar13 says, De Jesus Customs, I'm a photographer in the Chicago area. If any customizers want some photos done of their shoes, here's my Instagram, CanaryKid3000. If anybody's in the Chicagoland area, need some help with some of their photos, that is awesome. Awesome that you are offering that. So check out CanaryKid3000. Any customizers in the Chicagoland area interested in getting some quality photo stuff done? Marl Dane with the super chat says, review a big Instagram like Serato. That is a cool idea. Let's do that. I like that. Let's see here. Let's see. Let's pull up. Let's go to Serato's page. And let's see what works about somebody who's a big artist. Why did it get big? You know what I mean? Maybe we can maybe we can answer that. Okay, so Serato, if you're watching by chance, Corey, doubt it, just kidding. But here okay, so we head to the bio, Baltimore, Maryland, 600K YouTube subs, that is crazy. Click to buy, seen on ESPN, US Today, and MSG, management, his manager, his merch line, Sirius, text contact number, his link tree. So cool. So obviously busy here in the highlights. Good to see. And right away, you have a huge, wide range of content. That is one of the first things that you'll take note of. We have some behind the scenes shots of him working. Here we have some video stuff. IGTV, this is a 10-minute video on delivering these shoes, most likely. That's cool. Here we have a video again. Is this, oh, showing off, wow, look at that. The patent has the text on it. Super cool. Sort of a matte versus glossy look. Those are dope. Yeah, look at those. That is clean. Look at this. Like, it's not with Serato's photography here. It's so simple. It's so simple. Look at how it fills the frame, and it's just a simple background, and it just works. You know what I mean? That's what he does. He does not need to go over the top with his photography. It's just against concrete here, taken anywhere, just taken outside, and it just gets the job done when your shoes are so loud and do the talking. Yeah, again, I mean, the shoes do the talking, just simple backgrounds. You know what I mean? Simple stuff. Look at how loud the shoes are, these MJ Yeezys. Simple backgrounds. You don't need to overcomplicate it. What he gets about these simple backgrounds is they never distract. Even though they're here on, these are taken on probably, you know, your front porch or your steps or something like that. They're still always framed to where parts of the background would, like, you don't see his door frames or pots of flowers, things that wouldn't match at all with the theme or random stuff like that. It's just the brick and whatnot that you see of the steps. It's so simple. So yeah, simplicity is see, look, I think that this photo here is a little less good, and I'm sure nobody else would have a problem understanding that you know, here in this photo we have the random apartment in the background. This is taken probably on a car to show, and I just think that this photo is a little less professional than, you know, these other ones that are just so simple of using the concrete as your background. So yeah, I love that you get such a wide range of content from him. You know, you could kind of call these your money shots, your main shots. You're going to get stuff of your detail shots here. In-game shots of athletes wearing his stuff. Yeah, the best thing here is just the huge wide range of content. Great stuff. Oh, I love these. The Freddy Krueger. These KDs, I can't keep up with all the basketball shoes, but I think those are KDs. So yeah, cool stuff. Cool stuff from him. But yeah, okay, guys, it is already 6:30. It has been about 2 hours, so that is going to do it for us here on this episode of DCF Live. Thank you guys so much for joining us. Today, I didn't get to too many Instagram reviews, so potentially next week we will do a little bit more of that. Thank you guys so much for hanging out here in the chat. Thank you to all of my phenomenal mods here, keeping the chat flowing, helping out anybody who helps out, answering other people's questions. It's awesome, the community that we have here on these chats every Friday. Thank you guys again for being here. Hopefully everybody has a great, safe weekend. And if you haven't already, please check out our portrait video. It was a video that we poured a lot of heart and soul into. Shameless plug. Definitely check that one out. It means a lot. Super proud of that video. Super proud of the progress over a month on practicing portraits. And hopefully it just shows that you can do anything that you sort of set your mind to and really want to focus on and hone in on a craft and things like that. So you guys continue to inspire me. I can't help but want to get better because all of you guys want to, to get better at this craft too, and are coming for me in a way. You know what I mean? So I can't help but iron sharpens iron. You know what I mean? Like the old saying goes. So I can't help but want to get better because all of you guys push me to get better. So thank you for that. Thank you so much for joining us for this episode of DCF Live, and we will see you guys in that next video. Peace.